So today we will study about peptic ulcer. Okay, peptic means stomach, ulcer means lesions or the sores or the breakings formed in the membrane. So the lesions that are formed in the stomach are called as the peptic ulcers. So these sores or the lesions, if they are one or more in the stomach, they are called as the gastric ulcers. And the same thing if they are present in the duodenum or the are called as the duodenal ulcers. So these are the ulcers which are formed either in the stomach or the duodenum. Now we'll just see um, how it is made up of. The stomach usually is made up of the mucosal layer completely. So this mucosal layer again has got three layers. That is the innermost layer is called, this innermost layer is called as the epithelial layer. The main function of this is to absorb and secrete the mucus and digestive enzymes. Whereas the middle part of the mucosa is the lamina propria, which has got the blood vessels and the lymph vessels. And the outermost layer, this one, this is the muscularis mucosa, which is smooth, which is made up of smooth muscle, and the main function of it is it contracts and it breaks down the food. Okay, and then this stomach is made up of different parts, as we all know. This is the initial part, that is the cardia, then followed by fundus, and this is larger part is the body, and then pyloric antrum, and then this is the sphincter, that is the pyloric sphincter. And this sphincter usually closes when we eat food, so that it remains in the stomach and then it gets digested. Okay, and so the epithelial layer that we discussed earlier, this epithelial layer has got a different varieties of gastric glands which have got a different functions accordingly. So in the cardia, the epithelial layer has got the foveolar cells which will secrete the mucus. The main function of this foveolar cells is to secrete the mucus. So this mucus is made up of water and glycoproteins. And the next part of the stomach, that is the fundus and this body together, they have got many parietal cells here. These are the parietal cells which will secrete hydrochloric acid, which is the major acid required for the digestion of the food, that is secreted by the parietal cells which are present in the fundus and the body of the stomach. And then it also has a chief cells which produces pepsinogen, which helps digest the protein. And then comes the antrum. Okay, antrum has got the G cells. The G cells, the main function of this is they secrete the gastrin. It's also found in duodenum and pancreas. This is the stomach part where the G cells are present and which will secrete the gastrin. But these G cells also found in duodenum and pancreas. These duodenum and pancreas are the accessory organs which are present to the stomach. Okay, so the gastrin, which is produced by these cells, it will stimulate the parietal cells to secrete hydrochloric acid. The function of this gastrin, which is produced there, it will stimulate the parietal cells to secrete hydrochloric acid. Okay, and it also stimulate the growth of glands. Okay, the gastrin stimulate the production of hydrochloric acid and it stimulate the growth of gland. So in duodenum, other than this, in duodenum, we have got a Werner glands. Okay, these are the Werner glands in the lamina propria. They secrete mucus rich in bicarbonate ions. Okay, they also secrete the mucus, but here they'll secrete the mucus rich in bicarbonate ions. Okay, so this hydrochloric acid which is produced, that will in the stomach and duodenum, the mucosa would get digested. Okay, and that digestion by the hydrochloric acid will be neutralized by the bicarbonates which are produced by the Werner gland. So the destruction and production simultaneously they takes place. So in the stomach wall, as the stomach wall has got a more of food, as soon as the food enters there, it is constantly exposed to the gastric acid. As the hydrochloric acid, stomach walls are more constantly exposed. That's why the layer of the mucus in the stomach is thicker than the duodenum, whereas just food or the gastric acid momentarily exposed. So the duodenal mucosal wall will be thinner compared to the stomach walls. Okay, and other than this, even the blood that is flowing into this lamina propria, it also brings bicarbonates with it, which will help in neutralizing the hydrochloric acid. And along with this, our stomach and duodenum will secrete these small signaling molecules called as prostaglandins. So these prostaglandins, which are the signaling molecules, will be secreted by the stomach and the duodenum, which will also stimulate the mucus and bicarbonate production. And their basic nature is vasodilatation. So they vasodilate the nearby blood vessels. That's how bringing in more blood flow, and it helps in the epithelial cell regrowth or the growth, and it also helps in inhibiting or reducing the gastric juice. Okay, so the pathology mainly depends on the these are the defensive mechanisms which are produced by our body, like we discussed already: bicarbonate, mucus layer, prostaglandins, and mucosal blood flow, epithelial renewal. All these things are performed by our body as a defensive mechanism, and some of the aggressive things or the causes for the peptic ulcers, like Helicobacter pylori, it's a gram-negative organism, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, pepsins, bile acids, smoking, and alcohol. All these are the aggressive agents. So whenever there is a reduced defensive mechanism and an increased aggressive mechanism, that will lead to the formation of the peptic ulcer. So usually our body has got a normal balance between these gastric acid secretion and mucosal defense. So whenever there is a imbalance between this defensive and aggressive mechanism, we get the ulcers. Okay, so as we said, it's a aggressive agent, especially one of the 90% of peptic ulcers are caused due to the Helicobacter pylori bacteria. Okay, so this bacteria usually is found in the low income countries, and it is basically a gram negative organism. Okay, so these are the Helicobacter pylori organisms which will colonize in the gastric mucosa. By colonizing in gastric mucosa, they will release some adhesions. These adhesions will attack the foveolar cells, and then proteases, they all together, they'll damage the mucosal cells of the stomach. Okay, and then by damaging the mucosal cells, they'll start causing the ulcers or the lesions in the stomach. Okay, and usually it starts in the antrum, and then like here it's the it starts in the antrum, and then gradually it spreads to the different it covers the maximum part of the stomach here. Okay, and then that is the ulcer which is caused later. In the beginning, a small lesion is formed in the antrum. It starts with that, and then it spreads to duodenum, and half of the stomach is covered with that. And then another important cause due to which these peptic ulcers are caused as NSAIDs. These NSAIDs drugs, the major thing that they do in this is that they inhibit the COX enzyme, that is the cyclooxygenase enzyme, and this COX enzyme is essential for the synthesis of inflammatories like prostaglandins. The prostaglandins which are produced by the stomach and the duodenum, they need this enzyme, that is the cyclooxygenase enzyme. But these NSAIDs will inhibit this enzyme, thus they inhibit the production of the prostaglandins, and that's how, and they leave the gastric mucosa susceptible to damage. So they make this gastric mucosa susceptible to the damage, which then ultimately causes the peptic ulcers. Then one of the rare reason for the peptic ulcers is Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, which is the tumor of gastrinoma. Okay, this is a tumor which is formed here. Okay, tumor of gastrinoma, that is Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. It's a neuroendocrine tumor in duodenal wall or the pancreas. It's a neuroendocrine tumor that is that occurs in the duodenal wall or the pancreas. This secretes abnormal amount of gastrin. So we already know that gastrin stimulates the production of the hydrochloric acid. So abnormal amount of gastrin in turn stimulate these parietal cells to release excess hydrochloric acid. Okay, that in turn causes the increased hydrochloric acid causes the peptic ulcer. So ulcers develop in the first portion of the duodenum, usually because the tumor is there in the duodenal wall and the pancreas. So as the hydrochloric acid production is increased, there will be a duodenal portion first is attacked by the formation of these peptic ulcers, then the distal duodenums and the jejunums will be affected. Okay, so these whatever these peptic ulcers which are formed, they'll be usually small and they are punched out holes in mucosa, and their base will be usually clean because hydrochloric acid will be flowing through them. So the hydrochloric acid keep washing the base. That's the reason they'll have a clean base. And then they make the tissue scarred here. Scar tissue, they leave behind the scar tissue, and ulcers can in a later stage, these ulcers which are formed here, peptic ulcers, they can bleed, and then erosion go. If the erosion goes deeper, they'll start bleeding. So these gastric ulcers usually are formed in the lesser curvature here of the stomach. Okay, and then these are called the duodenal ulcers, Bernal and hypertrophy. This is the hypertrophy which is formed due to the peptic ulcers. So whenever there is these ulcers, if they become very deep ulcers, they'll start bleeding. So these ulcers which are deep into, then they'll start bleeding. They become more dangerous when the ulcers is somewhere present nearby any of the arteries, because it will harm the arteries which is carrying the blood. So that lead to the hemorrhage into the gastrointestinal. That leads to the hemorrhage into the gastrointestinal tract. Okay, any this is the hypertrophy, or this is the these are the blood vessels which are present just nearby the peptic ulcers. So any deep injury, deep ulcers which will cause the hemorrhage, will lead to the hemorrhage in the gastrointestinal tract. So the hemorrhage leads to the loss of blood, that may lead to the hypovolemic shock. So ultimately it may result into the shock. So this is the lesser curvatures left gastric artery and the gastroduodenal artery. So these two are the arteries which may affected by these peptic ulcers. Then the other serious complication that may happen in this peptic ulcers is the perforation. That is allowing gas. This because of this perforation, the gastric contents will be leaked out into the peritoneal space. Okay, that is because of the perforation. That's the complication of these duodenal ulcers is that they start collect air start collecting under the diaphragm here. Okay, because of the leakage of these peritoneal contents, the airs, the peptic ulcer, because of these peptic ulcers, the air starts collecting below the duodenum, that irritate the phrenic nerve that is passing through here. So this irritated phrenic nerve will give the pain up to the shoulder. The pain usually which arises here will be radiated towards the shoulder, which is called as a referred pain up to shoulder. Okay, so these long-standing duodenal ulcers, the duodenal ulcers which are there for a longer period of time near the this pyloric sphincter. Okay, so they later on they may cause a edema or a scarring of these tissue. Then they start obstructing the normal passage of the gastric contents. Here, if it is for a longer period of time, edema is formed here, and this will obstruct the passage of the gastric contents from the stomach to the further parts like duodenum and then next on. So the gastric outlet obstruction occurs. That's the reason the food that we eat will be remained more back into the stomach, which may cause the nausea and vomiting. And coming to some of the symptoms to know, there will be an increased gastric pain, that is aching or burning in the upper abdomen, and there will be a bloating, belching, and vomiting. So in gastric ulcer, usually you have this pain more while eating, because I mean it's in the stomach. As the food enters in the stomach, and in response to that food, a more amount of gastric acid is formed. So the presence of food and increased gastric hydrochloric acid together, they cause the pain in the increased pain in the gastric ulcers. Okay, there will be a weight loss observed in gastric ulcers, whereas the duodenal ulcers there is no pain, or these symptoms will not be there while eating. will be there. They may be there when you are not eating, and there will be a weight gain in case of duodenal ulcers. So this is all about the peptic ulcers.